Good morning. Welcome to Crusher Trading Live. This is your host, Will V, the Psycho Maniac Day Trader. All right. We're going to get into yesterday's setups, what took place, and we'll talk about what's cooking for today. And as usual, let's start with Apple. So, been very bearish lately. Apple trending on the hourly to the downside. So, basically, going in today, I kind of like Apple a little bit, maybe for a little bit of a pop and fade. Uh, I'll be looking at Apple for a move to the previous day lows and then maybe a break to the downside, maybe to the 100 would be my target. So what I'd be looking at here is a move up and then to the downside. I think it's Friday. It's been very bearish, so I think we might see a little bit more of a sell-off today. But we'll see what happens. But that's what I'll be looking at on Apple. And then as far as yesterday goes, there was absolutely nothing to trade for me on Apple. So we basically just had this nice big candle at the open to the upside, rejected the 9-day over here. So a little bit choppy in there. Yeah, nothing for me. So like I said, today I'd be looking for this here getting up to that previous day high or a continuation to the downside. So something like this here. Okay. So that's Apple. Amazon continues to be bearish. Also, we do have an ascending support line on the daily. I still have puts on Amazon. I'll be keeping those. Those are up 60%. And let's see what else here. As far as Amazon go, I'd be looking, if we do get continuation of the downside, we might get a lot of pop and fades here. We had a big red day yesterday also. So we got this level marked out here. And then I would probably take the low from a couple days ago. And let me put this in. So yeah, that would be, I'd be looking for on Amazon is this here. If we decide, to get that move to the upside, something like this, I don't know that it's going to happen. I would be very hesitant on taking this deep into the upside. But if Amazon wants to break lower, we'll take it. It's got a pretty big window down to the 200 day. So, and I've always said if we break the 100, we're going to get to the 200. So I'm more on the side of Amazon breaking, retesting up here, breaking this this level from a few days ago, and then down to the 200 day. So that's what I'd be looking for on Amazon today. Yesterday, we blew through the crush zone. It wasn't really a good day for the crush zone yesterday. So if you're playing the crush zone, you'd have gotten stopped out on many of these. And then again, maybe not, because if you're taking crush zones, right at the crush zone, you would have gotten stopped out. But if you're waiting for the 10-second move above the 50 SMA for confirmation, you would have not gotten into this trade. So there really wasn't any trade there on Amazon. As far as continuation of the downside, here's our 5-minute ORB. I don't really have a retest either. It just kind of took off. It was a pretty heavy day yesterday, so didn't really get any confirmation. The only confirmation I really do have is, when the 20 EMA here broke through the 50 SMA. There's our confirmation there, but most of the run was over already. You can also on the 1 minute, you can also look at the 1 minute. Here, I'll show you what I'm looking at here. Outside the Bollinger Bands, a lot of consolidation in here with moving averages. But once we break down below the 50 SMA and the 1, you got your channeling taking place. So I talked about this a lot earlier. When you see channeling taking place on the 10-second, that's kind of a precursor to what's going to take place on the 1. And sure enough, we have a nice move. These moving averages on the 10 look almost identical to the 1. And so that would have been a good entry right there. You don't get the retest back to the 20 EMA either. So it was pretty heavy. You would have to got in. You would have had to have got in, just based on your moving averages if you were going to take the Amazon trade. Microsoft also weakish, very weakish. I do have a level here at 389, 390-ish roughly. And once again, be looking for kind of the same thing here. Let me open this up. Either a break here and a retest. If it wants to fade, that's fine too. I'd be looking at these levels right in here. Let's see here. Probably right there. I'd be looking at some sort of push and fade for Microsoft also today. If I were to trade it, I don't know that it's going to be number one on my watch list, but definitely have the levels marked out, and this will give me an audio alert if it gets there. Da-dum-dum. There really isn't a trade yesterday. No continuations. Pretty choppy in the beginning. Pop and drop at the beginning too on the one. So that's pretty common. You get that pop over the 50 and it drops. Once again, just look for that 20 EMA break on the 50. You're below VWAP, so as long as we're staying below the 20 EMA, it's looking pretty good. Down to the crush it zone. Same thing on the one. We don't get a crush it zone trade here either. Everything is channeling down. We do get a small little bit of a move, but once again, it's really nothing. You should have enough knowledge to not get into this trade. There just wasn't anything there for it. All right, AMD continues also to be weakish, and I talked about this last week, and almost a month ago now, I was talking about this being very weakish, and I never bought any puts on it, but we were talking about this way up here back in December. So you can see it just continues to be weak. One of the things just keep track of is we are trading below the 50 SMA, and it has no desire to even touch it yet. So we have a nice big trend on AMD to the downside. And a good move on this one here would have been a bounce off that 20 EMA to the downside. And we're now at a daily level on AMD right here. So I'll take that daily level and move over to the 1 hour and see if there's anything today. I don't think I'd be trading it. If we do, we have a nice window down to a 93, but it's under 100, so it's hard to say whether this level is going to be defended or not. We might get a push up to the 50 SMA on the hourly here, and then a bounce down. But once again, not on my watch list, but that's kind of what I'm expecting there on AMD. AMD hit the crush it zone yesterday also, but it kind of blew through it, and you can see here on the 10-second, you got the channeling. And a lot of times, you guys, it's either one or the other. If you're not getting, I think Amir, you play this quite a bit too. So if you have channeling on the 10-second, you don't have a crush it zone trade. And this is where I think what Amir does a lot of times is he'll step in, he'll take these retests on the crush it zone, and he'll take them to the 1.786 or maybe down to the 200. But I know he did well on that on Meta the other day. But something to think about. I don't really play that strategy. I'm all crush it zone, but just something to think about. If you're channeling and you got heavy days, it might be worth a swing. I wouldn't go heavy on it. Maybe go light and then see if you can get down to that next zone. As you can see, these levels I have marked out here, none of these have really the price action doesn't hang out in the middle of these zones. It's going to touch one side or the other. These fib levels are very, very reliable. And like I said, you're not just going to break in the middle of the zone. So keep that in mind. Right, so really nothing on AMD yesterday as far as crush it zone trades go. And then the continuation, it's really choppy in the beginning on the one here. We do get kind of a retest, a check candle here at 940 for a move to the downside. And where's that at here on the 10-second? You can see what that looks like. So, what I like about this is once the 10-second breaks, all these moving averages down and you get the 20 EMA crossing the 50, that's where we usually add in. We get our starters right up here. We'll add in here. You get that nice channeling to the downside, and here it is right here. It's also a break off of the 50 SMA on the 5, right? So that is a really good move. There it is right here to the downside. But once again, you want to break that 20 EMA. You got the retest, channels all the way down, gets down to the crush it zone and doesn't work out. So if you're highly focused and AMD was on your list, that's all you really have to do is, wait for that retest candle that you kind of get right in. Where's that at? Right in here on the 50. And then you can see we're trading well below the 20 EMA. So there's AMD. Meta. Let's see here. Meta was my favorite stock. It's just been very. It's also been kind of like bullish and I mean say bearish and bullish here. Um, we had a nice bearish move. Really kind of made a lot of money on these moves to the downside. Hit the 50 SMA here on the daily, the 50 daily, and had a really nice bounce to the upside. Okay, got some bearish exhaustion up here, and then you can see yesterday we had a nice bearish move to the downside also, which I didn't get in on that one um, particularly, but a couple days ago that nice move off the 50 was really nice. So yesterday on Meta, let me see if we get this break and retest and the continuation. Here we go. Once again, I'm kind of watching price action at the 50. You got, once again, these moving averages all break that 50 SMA, which is a good signal for a bear. And I got all these bear indicators showing up in here, tons of them. And, I'm not going to jump in based on those. These are just here kind of as a test, but you can see that, these moving averages all fall into line. And once you get this nice, high, we look at all this separation, the moving average, that's a signal for a nice move to the downside. And usually, if you can break that 5-minute ORB, believe me, if you catch it right, you can have a good 90% chance of hitting the crusher zone. And we do here also on Meta. So you see how that looks there. You see the formation of those moving averages. You got the 9 crossing. Everything crosses 50, so that's a really good move to the downside. Your starter position would have been right in here, and you would have trimmed down here at the 0 line, and so forth. Let's see here. Do I have this marked out right? No, let me change this here. I had that crusher zone marked out wrong. There we go. So yeah, once again, you don't really get that the price just blows through the crusher zone, so you really don't have anything on Meta either. So, but a really nice move to the downside. So today, going into today, what are my expectations? Probably gonna, mostly I'm gonna watch Tesla, Nvidia, and Apple for the most part. Nvidia being my big one, which I'll get into here in a second. But if we can continue down, if it wants to go bearish here, I would say we want to get this break of the previous day low, maybe a retest to the down to the 50. I don't know how big of a move we're going to get out of this, but yeah, we'll have it on watch. I don't know that I'll be watching Meta today much. All right, let's move on to Nvidia. Nvidia yesterday, we kind of had this crusher zone, took a starter on here, maybe got a trim, got stopped out. Not a big deal. It just didn't work out. But definitely you got to take these at the crusher zones. You can see we had the 20 cross, the 9 crosses, the 20 here in the 10 second, a little bit of channeling here at the 50. So, the setup was good. It just didn't work out. It was a very bearish day. We were counter trending this day yesterday. So, not the best. Not the best trade. What else we got here? So indicators seem like they're working out pretty good. I got a test on these indicators of bull mode, and yeah, they seem to be working out pretty decent here. So we'll keep monitoring those. So going into today, what am I looking here on Nvidia? I can open this up here. I think we got more downside. I have this ascending trend line here that was at about 120.33, and we're trading below that. So once again, I think we might see a pop and fade. So I got a couple different levels marked out here. I'd be looking at this level here at 125 if we get up that high. And I'd also be looking at this low candle on the 1 hour, which is lining up with the pre-market. So, one of the things I'm looking for is if we pop up to here and then fade down again, If it decides to just head down right away, maybe get a fade here like this. But I'm going to be watching the moving averages on the 1 and the 5 to see how we break out on that, and see if we break out on that NVIDIA. But right now, I think my favorite is NVIDIA to the downside. So what I'd be looking for here now in the open is if we can catch a Fibonacci level on the bullish side on NVIDIA, you know, that pop and drop, that might make for a good trade to the downside. We'll keep an eye on it. No guarantees. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Tesla at the 200 day. So, you know, I think we can probably see, you know, some momentum to the upside. So this is another one I'm going to be watching because I think that, you know, we could see this pop at the open. Whoops. And so we'll see how that works out. What did I just do here? There we go. So we'll watch the 200 day on Tesla. Tesla was the only one yesterday that had the crush zone trade. And of course, I didn't take it. So, but we had a nice crush zone trade on Tesla. We had actually maybe 2 of them. We hit the crush zone the first time here at about 10 o'clock. And my average time on Tesla has been 10 o'clock. So when I get to that 10 o'clock, my eyes kind of peel towards Tesla for a moment to see if we have a trade. And, you know, I just didn't take it though. Excuse me. Nice channeling. We get above the 50. It's a nice break. So anyways, any questions on any of this? Anything we got? Any questions? Anything we got going on today? Sorry, guys. Still waking up here. He's here, but so this is what I'm looking at here on Tesla. We have this 200. Is there a chance we could, you know, pull down a little bit before we go up? Absolutely. We could also hit previous day lows here and come down. So I think we have some good opportunities on Tesla for sure also. But anyways, so that's what I got for the day, you guys. Market opens in about 30 minutes here. So